Hey guys, I'm the real Pete Kirkwood, and today I wanted to talk about book recommendations. As a life coach, I'm a big fan of reading. Now, I don't know where you came across me or how you found out about me, but a lot of people have asked me what books I found impactful over my life. And I think reading is an important skill, not just for education, but also for pleasure, for opening your mind, and for expanding your world. So my top 3 book recommendations are probably going to be a bit different to what you might find on most people's book recommendation lists if you're looking to enjoy yourself and create a better life for yourself. But hey, I'm not most people. So without further ado, book number 3 I would recommend on this countdown, my third favorite book of all time that has probably been, it's hard to say if it's been the book most responsible for changing my life, but it was the book that changed me from a negative person into a positive person, because there was a time when I had to go through that transition. And the title of this book is called The Magic of Thinking Big. It's by someone Schwartz. I can't remember his initials off the top of my head, but it's The Magic of Thinking Big. Definitely go and look that one up. Find it in Google. It is worth a read. And for anyone at any stage in their life, it'll help you see what's happening to you in a way that will take the negativity out of your thoughts, out of your patterns, out of your routines in a simple way. I'd highly recommend that to anyone who's struggling with thoughts of negativity or depression or sadness, or just not seeing the colors, the brightness and the shine in life that they once did. Hey, maybe it's not your week, maybe it's not your day, but we could all use a pick-me-up, and that's the kind of book that can really help a lot. It did a lot for me, that book. And one of my early role models, he was a farmer who built an entire empire and retired. Really good, kind-hearted man. That was his favorite book. So that really stood out for me. That's my third book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Now, the second book that I would recommend, the second book on my list, this one you might find on a few other lists, this one you might find around. It has been banned in the majority of prisons across the world because it is a powerful, powerful book. And this book is called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. If you've heard of the 48 Laws of Power before, you've probably heard it spoken about. Robert Greene wrote the 50th Law with 50 Cent. They co-wrote that book together, and 50 Cent's a big fan of Robert Greene and his works. You'll see a lot of people reference him as he really came across the simple concept of analyzing a whole bunch of very successful people throughout history and distilling down the things they did into a series of laws you can use, or you can need to be aware of other people using against you to create power, influence, respect, happiness, peace, whatever it is you want in your life. Very, very powerful book. To get into it anymore would be to break it down into the rules that are within it, but I can highly recommend that. And even a lot of the other teachings I've learned from very successful people in very diverse fields have been distilled into 1 or 2 laws out of that book, just worded differently. Before I will literally get into the laws if I don't say. That's the number 2 book, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I hope you're writing these down. So we have The Magic of Thinking Big by Mr. Schwartz, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, and I guarantee you number 1 on this list is a book you will find on no other coach's list. No other person who helps, no other person at all will be telling you this book is number 1. Because this book is completely different to the way everybody else thinks about it. Everybody else is so stuck in the present moment and changing their current condition that they're not thinking ahead. And this book is Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. This is a science fiction book. This book is not real. It's a fantasy story. However, this is quite hard science fiction. What hard science fiction means is how accurate it is. If I was to write science fiction about World War II, it would be basically science fact, and it would be the hardest of the hard because it's built on the fundamental principles of science we already use, know, and are widely established. If I wrote a book about people teleporting across the galaxy using the power of love and space pixie dust, that would be very soft science because it's completely disconnected from what we know as reality. Now, why Peter F. Hamilton's book stood out so much for me when I first read it was because it's based in quite hard science fact. For example, the concept of OC tattoos is where you have tattoos on your body you can use to electronically control things around you. So you can have one that does your light switches on and off in your house, for a simple example, or turns your car on, or calls your car to you. Simple things like that tattooed into circuitry in your body that you can use. Might sound far off, but if you actually do research, they've come up with tattoos that change colors depending upon your blood sugar levels, your pH levels inside of your skin, and your white blood cell count, and they're working on more. So this is technology that's not that far away. A lot of the concepts in that book are quite close to a future we could very well be living in, and the characters are written so well and so diversely that it enables you to get a bigger picture of life and how things can come together. It enables you to see a greater thread and a greater story than your own individual perspective, because you can learn while you're experiencing such a fantastic story. There's a reason I'm putting a science fiction story at number 1 on my book recommendation list. Every single person I've recommended this book to who's actually read it has been struck by the impact it's had on them. Male or female, young or old, rich or poor, dreamer or doer. The impact that a book like that can have for your imagination, which is what fuels your creativity, fuels your growth, and charges you forward in the world, gives you passion, energy, and excitement for life. It's not all about strict technical bullshit. Yeah, you've got to have your structure in place. Yeah, you've got to know your things. You've got to drill your things out and do all that kind of stuff. There's a time and a place for it. Don't get me wrong. But do not forget the power of imagination. And that book hugely changed my life, plus all the ones that come after it. So it will be number 1 on my list. Pandora's Star, like Pandora the jewelry or Pandora's box. And it's a hugely deep evaluation of psychology, both human and alien as well. So it's fantastic. Fantastic. Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton is number 1. Number 2 was The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And number 3 was The Magic of Thinking Big by, I think it's Jim Schwartz, but I can't remember. Mr. Schwartz. So check those 3 books out. If you're looking for some book recommendations, you won't go far wrong. So that's what I get asked a lot. If you guys have books you'd like to recommend that have been powerful for you, don't hesitate to chuck them in the comments. I'm always looking for a good book, and we might as well share our knowledge, share the love. That's what the platform's for. So I'm Pete Kirkwood. Every day, in every way, it's getting better and better, guys. Peace.